The author then states, and we in that when they all came together, we begin with the lightest. He then states, legal penalties are averted. وتدرأ الحدود بالشبهات ولو زنى بجارية له فيها شركة وإن قل أو لولده أو وطئ في نكاح مختلف فيه أو مكرها أو سرق من مال له فيه حق أو لولده وإن سفل أو من مال غريمه الذي يعجز عن تخليصه منه بقدر حقه لم يحد. The author states, legal penalties are averted. We do not apply them. It's a principle. We do not apply them in cases of uncertainty, in cases of doubt. So they would not be enforced in cases like the following. An individual committed fornication, zina, with a slave girl with whom he owned a share, however small. So Sulaiman and Ahmed purchased this female slave for $10,000. Sulaiman is not allowed to sleep with her, nor is Ahmed allowed to sleep with her. Why? Because each one has a haqq in the share with her. It's not like the slave is totally owned by Sulaiman. So none of them are allowed to sleep with her. But what happened was, Sulaiman went along and he slept with her. So here there is a shubha, there is like a doubt, that this female slave here, technically, there is half right that Sulaiman has. And Sulaiman slept with her, he's committed zina. We would say Sulaiman is sinful. He knew that this was wrong. It is haram, etc. But as for the had, we don't apply the had. Why? Because there was a doubt that there was some sort of legitimacy, there was some sort of haqq that he had with regards to this female, and so due to that, we do not apply the penalty upon him. Rather, there might be other penalties, maybe ta'zir, maybe the had we won't apply upon him, but maybe ta'zir, that for example, we might find him, we might lash him, we might give him a harsh word, we might not lash him the amount that would apply in the had, etc. We would not, for example, stone him to death. We might lash him some number of times. But the had is averted. We leave it out when there is any type of doubt. Even if this person knew that what he is doing is haram. According to the madhab, even if this person knew what he was doing was haram to sleep with her, it is zina. He went ahead, he slept with her, he was found guilty, but we would not apply the had on this individual. However small share he had in that female, or in whom his son owned a share. So here Sulaiman, he doesn't have a slave, a girl, etc. But his son has a share in the purchase of the slave girl. So he went along and the father and he slept with the slave girl. We would not apply the had on him. Why? Because his son has a share. And technically there is some sort of ta'wil that whatever your son owns is owned by you, etc. And so there's a doubt, there's a shubha. We leave out the penalty, subhanAllah. Even if he knew, as we said, it was haram and he went ahead and he did it, we still do not apply the penalty upon him. Or if he consummated a marriage which was subject to dispute or did so by coercion. Example, mut'a, nikah. Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah in agreement that it is haram and haram. Someone Sunni individual goes along and he makes a mut'ah marriage. He knows it's haram, jayyid. We would still not apply the had on this individual. We'd use some other discretionary penalties upon him, but not the had. Why? Because mut'ah, there is ikhtilaf with regards to the matter. And the scholars' ikhtilaf is a shubha, is a doubt in the matter. Individual gets married without a wali, and the individual is Shafi'i and he knew it's haram to get married like this and he's found guilty in court, etc. We would not apply the had on this individual. Or for example, shighar, I marry my daughter to you in exchange that you marry your daughter to me. Haram type of marriage, but they went ahead and they did it. We would not apply the had on these individuals. Why? The ikhtilaf of the scholars is a shubha in the matter. And we said even if the person knows that this was haram, but we separate between two matters. Your sin between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you need to make tawbah, etc. As for the had, the qadi, then his job, there's shubha in the matter. We do not apply the had. Or if the individual stole from property in which he or his son had a rightful claim. So two business partners in this business, etc. One partner steals from the other. Technically, there's a shubha. Why? Because the money is together and it's like a sharika and it's a cooperative type of business. So that's a doubt. There's a shubha there. It's not 100% clear cut, etc. We do not apply the penalty of had in this case, the penalty of sariqa, of stealing. Or if the individual steals from the Baytul Mal, he steals from the Baytul Mal, steals from the government treasury, etc. We do not apply the penalty of sariqa upon this individual. Why? Because this person has a haq in the Baytul Mal. He's got a share in the Baytul Mal. Or if an individual steals from the war booty, we won't apply the had. We're not talking about the level of sin. This person stealing from war booty is a super major sin, right? It might be a higher sin than maybe stealing from some other person. But because he's got a haq in the booty, we do not apply the had penalty upon this individual. If he stole from property in which he or his son had a rightful claim, or, adjust your translation, or if he stole from his debtor, someone owes you money. You stole from your debtor, he stole from his debtor who is not paying. So you steal from your debtor who is not paying you up, provided that the amount taken was less than the total wealth of his debtor who was unable to repay him his due. Suleiman is your debtor. Suleiman owes you £1,000. You went and stole £800 from Suleiman, or you stole £1,000 from Suleiman. We would not apply the had on you, although you stole. But here you had a haq in the matter. If you stole 2,000, yes, then there's an issue there. But if you stole your amount or less than that, we do not apply the had on you. Why? There's a shubha, there's a doubt that you had a haq in that money. Lastly, the author states, وَمَنْ أَتَى حَدًّا خَارِجَ الْحَرَمِ, and whoever comes with the legal penalty outside of the sacred precincts, the haram of Makkah al-Mukarramah, ثم لجأ إلى الحرم أو لجأ إليه من عليه قصاص لم يستوفى منه حتى يخرج ولكن لا يبايع ولا يشاري وإن فعل ذلك في الحرم استوفي منه فيه وإن أتى حدا في الغزو لم يستوفى حتى يخرج من دار الحرب. The author discussing the issues, the sacred precincts of Makkah al-Mukarramah. If someone incurs the legal penalty outside of the haram, then he takes refuge within the haram. So someone, for example, stole in Medina, or he stole in Sham, and then he rushes and he goes to Makkah seeking protection in Makkah al-Mukarramah. Or if, for example, he cuts off the arm of someone in Damascus, and then he seeks protection, sanctuary, etc. in Makkah, what happens? He enjoys immunity until he comes out. We do not apply the penalty on him according to the madhab, if it was qisas, or if it was the hudud and he did it outside of Makkah and he sought protection inside of Makkah, we don't apply. Rather, we try to get him out of Makkah. We try to force him out of Makkah. This is the opinion of, for example, the Hanbali scholars. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states in the Noble Quran, وَمَنْ دَخَلَهُ كَانَ آمِنًا, and whoever enters into Makkah, then he is safe. Surah Ali Imran, verse number 97. Also the hadith of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam that you do not spill blood in Makkah al-Mukarramah, hadith reported by Imam al-Bukhari. So this is the opinion of the Hanbali scholars, whereas the Maliki scholars, the Shafi'i scholars said, no, you apply the had even if it is in Makkah, because this person, he has committed the crime, he has fallen short, he's done something wrong. If we allow this, then all criminals would rush to Makkah al-Mukarramah. So the author states, he enjoys immunity until he comes out. He must not engage in buying or selling, meaning we must try to get him out of Makkah. Nobody must sell to him, nobody must buy from him. However, if he does that, so we must try to get him out of Makkah, then we can apply the penalty. However, if the individual commits any of these crimes, the hudud or qisas, within the boundaries of Makkah, the penalty will be done upon him. Why? Because you have transgressed upon the sanctity of Makkah. So we don't, like, for example, show you extra respect and we don't apply the penalty on you. No, you've transgressed the boundaries of the sanctity of Makkah and we will apply the penalty on you. This is different from the previous case where you sought safety in Mecca by committing a crime somewhere else and seeking safety into Mecca. The penalty would be exacted from him therein. Lastly, if someone incurs a penalty in the course of a military campaign, it will not be extracted from him until he emerges from the sphere of combat. This is the opinion of the Hanbali madhab as opposed to all of the other madhahib. They state, and this is from the mufradat of the Hanbali madhab, the singular rulings which are only found in the Hanbali madhab, based upon the hadith reported by Imam at-Tirmidhi, لا يقضى الأيدي في الغزو, that do not cut off the wrists in the battlefield or while out in battle. Jayyid. And the Hanbali scholars use that as a proof, hadith reported by Imam at-Tirmidhi. Also they state that if you're going to cut off the wrist of the soldier, etc., who's done something wrong, the soldier might leave the Muslims and he might rush over to the side of the enemy. So we only apply the hudud, etc., once the soldiers have come back to the city, once they've come back to the local capital, etc. Also they state the qissa of Abu Mihjan. This individual was with Sa'd bin Abi Waqqas at Qadisiyya, and he was found guilty for the consumption of alcohol. And he was caught and he was tied up and he was found guilty, and they were waiting to apply the penalty upon him. And later on, while the battle was going on, he tried to get out from this being locked up, and he spoke to Sa'd bin Abi Waqqas' wife, please let me go and I'll go out and fight on the battlefield and then I'll come back, don't worry, I will come back and the penalty can be applied upon me. So she let him go, she allowed for him to escape. He went out, he covered his face and he played a major part in the battle. And subhanallah, he killed many of the enemy. After all of this was done, then he came back and he cuffed himself up, and the penalty was about to be applied upon him. Later on, Sa'd bin Abi Waqqas realized that it was Abu Mihjan who was on the battlefield and doing this and doing that. So here Sa'd bin Abi Waqqas did not apply the penalty upon him. Why? He said, in lieu of that which you've done, you've helped the Muslims to such a great degree, such a high level, then we don't apply the penalty upon you. And Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah, he states that if an individual causes great harm to the enemy, then forget applying the penalty. We don't apply it on the battlefield. Rather, we don't apply the penalty at all, even if it was a had of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like the case of Abu Mihjan. So the penalty of consumption of alcohol was not applied on him at all due to the fact that he caused such great harm upon the enemy ranks. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. So, Ya Abdullah, Ya Amatallah, the last mas'ala was that if someone commits a crime outside of Makkah al-Mukarramah, seeks safety in Makkah, according to the madhab, we do not apply the penalty upon him. Shafi'i scholars, Maliki scholars differ, and the Hanbali scholars also then discussed, what if the person lives in Makkah and commits a crime? Do we apply the penalty? They said yes, in this case we apply. Why? Because even the people of Makkah require protection. If we are not going to apply penalties in Makkah, then people would steal and they would loot and they would plunder, etc., etc. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. And with that, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, we take a short break. When we return, we will discuss the short chapter with regards to the had of zina, the legal penalty with regards to the commission of zina, of adultery, fornication. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. Hayyakumullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.